Narratives by Neurons presents to you Lost in Space. This is story of Jim, Sarah, and mission control. Protagonist astronaut who survives a spacecraft disaster. Veteran astronaut and loving family man who draws on incredible inner strength to overcome tragedy in space. Jim's wife waiting desperately for his return. Devoted wife and mother who holds out hope and rallies global support to bring Jim home. NASA team attempting to locate and rescue Jim. Skilled NASA mission control team working tirelessly to find innovative ways to save Jim. Chapter 1: Lost in Space. Jim was an astronaut on a solo mission to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. After launching from Earth, a micrometeoroid struck his ship, disabling communication and navigation systems. Drifting through space, Jim struggled to repair the damaged systems with limited tools and supplies aboard. With oxygen running low, he realized this might be his final voyage as he gazed out helplessly at the stars. Back on Earth, Mission Control lost contact with Jim shortly after reaching Jupiter's orbit. With no way to locate or communicate with the ship, the situation looked grim. Jim's wife and 2 kids were devastated when told the news, fearing they may never see him again. With hope fading, the space agency urgently reviewed every option to try to find and rescue Jim. Chapter 2: Plunging towards Jupiter. For days, Jim continued attempting repairs, but with no success and resources depleting. He changed course towards Jupiter, hoping to use the planet's gravity to slingshot back towards Earth. But upon approaching Jupiter, the ship was pulled into the powerful magnetic field around the planet. Tumbling uncontrollably towards Jupiter, Jim braced himself as the ship broke apart and everything went dark. At Mission Control, the team detected debris near Jupiter, matching Jim's ship material and signature. Though the discovery provided some clue to Jim's fate, they held out hope of finding him alive. Jim's family organized a worldwide social media campaign, pleading for any help to locate him. Despite no leads, NASA reassured them they would do everything humanly possible to bring Jim home. Chapter 3: The Slingshot Maneuver. Jim slowly opened his eyes inside a damaged section of the ship, tumbling towards Jupiter. He was miraculously alive, but with no way to control or navigate the fragmented vessel. As the pieces were pulled further into Jupiter's orbit, Jim spotted Europa approaching. In a daring move, he spacewalked between the debris towards the largest fragment with thrusters. After strapping himself in, Jim ignited the thrusters just in time to slingshot around Europa and avoid Jupiter's crushing gravity. Emerging from the maneuver, Jim charted a course for Earth, but fuel was extremely limited. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself a moment of relief and hope. Far from home, Jim recorded his final message to loved ones in case he did not make it back. Chapter 4: Drifting into the Void. For weeks, Jim navigated the damaged ship towards home with no communication and dwindling supplies. He rationed every last ounce of air, water, and food, knowing he was still months from Earth. Sleep-deprived and malnourished, Jim started experiencing visions of his family urging him on. One day, the propulsion cut out, leaving him adrift and hopeless as Earth slowly faded from sight. With no options left, Jim donned his helmet and stepped out into the void, ready to accept his fate. Back home, Mission Control detected a faint signal in deep space, matching Jim's emergency beacon frequency. Though the signal was weak, they quickly assembled a rescue team to intercept before it was too late. Jim's wife and kids prayed for a miracle, holding on to hope that he could be brought home. Chapter 5: Glimpse of Salvation. Adrift in space, Jim saw a glint of light reflecting off a distant ship heading towards him. With failing life support, he struggled to reach the emergency transmitter floating nearby. Mustering the last of his energy, Jim activated the beacon, which confirmed the approaching vessel had detected him. Collapsing in exhaustion, the ship latched onto his suit and drew him inside as he slipped into unconsciousness. The rescue crew rushed Jim to the medical bay, where doctors worked urgently to stabilize his critical condition. Word soon reached Earth that Jim had been found, prompting celebration at mission control and relief for his family. Against all odds, Jim awakened 2 days later in a hospital bed back on Earth, relieved to be home. Though still recovering, his miraculous survival became a symbol of perseverance and the heroic work of those who never stopped searching. Chapter 6: Back from the Brink. During recovery, Jim recounted his harrowing tale publicly to aid NASA's future safety efforts. Though he lost part of one leg, Jim remained determined to regain enough strength to walk his daughter down the aisle someday. On his first trip back to space, Jim paid tribute to lost astronauts by leaving a memorial plaque in orbit around Jupiter. Many years later, an aging Jim watched proudly as his grandchildren set off to colonize Europa, now more accessible. Reflecting on his ill-fated mission, he was grateful that it led to key innovations, allowing humanity to explore space for generations. Though his experience left scars, Jim chose to find purpose by advocating for space programs and inspiring youth. On his 90th birthday, Jim gazed up at the night sky one last time, content with the legacy he left on Earth and the stars. Jim's legend lived on as the astronaut who narrowly escaped death and propelled our reach into the cosmos. Chapter 7: One Last Voyage. In his twilight years, Jim pushed himself to walk again without assistance and go on one last spaceflight. When engineers unveiled the next-generation warp-drive ship, Jim eagerly volunteered to pilot its maiden voyage. On a crisp spring morning, surrounded by his family and fans, the elderly Jim strapped into the warp ship. Gazing at Earth one last time, he throttled up the exotic drive, vanished in a flash of light, and entered the realm of space legend. Jim's pioneering journey inspired generations to push the boundaries of science and proved no limits when the human spirit prevails. Though Jim was never seen again, he left a lasting impact on space travel, completing his life's work. On the anniversary of Jim's final flight each year, a great beam of light pierces the sky, giving hope that he is still out there. Jim showed that even in the vastness of space, the courage of the human heart can overcome any obstacle and achieve the impossible. Chapter 8: Reaching for the Stars. Though Jim's fate remained a mystery, his voyage ushered in a new era for humanity among the stars. With Jim's legacy fueling innovation, humanity flourished on Earth and spread peacefully across the galaxy. Stories of Jim's bravery in the void inspired generations of young explorers to reach for the heavens. On the outskirts of the solar system, an ethereal ship forever orbits, carrying Jim's spirit and watching over humankind. Jim showed that even a frail human, when confronted with oblivion, can summon the will to survive against inconceivable odds. The day Jim first gazed upon Europa, he set humanity's course to transcend our earthly cradle and touch the face of the infinite. Though one solitary life in the cosmic scale, Jim proved that human resilience and ingenuity can overcome any void. Let Jim's timeless voyage stir your dreams, fuel your spirit of discovery, and remind you that all limits are merely the horizon to surpass on the road to the stars. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and thank you for watching. Disclaimer: this video was generated using artificial intelligence. Any resemblance to actual events or locales or persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental.